Terrorist financing encompasses the means and method used by terrorist organizations to finance their activities. The money may come from legitimate or illegitimate sources. It could be from business profits and charitable organizations, illegal activities including trafficking in weapons, drugs, and people, or from kidnapping. Terrorist financing is illegal irrespective of where or how the money came about. And on today's program, we will be focusing on EFCC's intervention in preventing the financing of terrorism. Stay with us on the program for an insightful discussion on our interview segment. Thank you for joining us on The Eagle, a program that chronicles the activities of the EFCC. I am your host, Aisha Muhammad. Welcome to the program. Acting Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Abdul Karim Chukwu, has reiterated the Commission's commitment to working with other law enforcement organizations in Africa in tackling the menace of cybercrime, money laundering, and other economic and financial crimes. Chukwu stated this at the EFCC headquarters when a senior delegation from the Directorate of Priority Crime Investigation (DPCI) of South Africa, led by Lieutenant General C.S. Musipi, visited the Commission. Chinonso Alexander Eni tells us more.
The acting chairman of the EFCC, Abdul Karim Chukwu, stated that the delegation's visit was a significant step towards fostering a deeper understanding and collaboration between the two esteemed agencies. He said that the EFCC is honored to receive delegates from DPCI and recognizes the record of accomplishment and unwavering commitment demonstrated by them, especially in prioritizing and combating serious crimes that threaten the fabric of the societies. Chukwu pointed out that the two agencies shared the same mission to safeguard their nations from the clutches of economic and financial crimes. He added that the EFCC places a premium on cooperation and collaboration with law enforcement and anti-corruption agencies in Africa, stating that through open and transparent sharing of intelligence, strategies, and methodologies, the two agencies can bolster capabilities and enhance resilience in the face of evolving criminal tactics.
As we all gather here today, united by our shared mission to safeguard our nations from the clutches of economic and financial crimes, we recognize the crucial role that knowledge exchange and cooperation plays in strengthening our collective efforts. These challenges that we face are quite complex and multifaceted, requiring a holistic and collaborative approach. The EFCC places premium on cooperation and collaboration with law enforcement and anti-corruption agencies in Africa, most especially agencies like yours. Going to the fact that your agencies have experience, you've done quite a lot in the African continent, so collaboration with agencies like yours will go a long way in addressing some of the challenges that we face in our continent.
Earlier, DPCI's Lieutenant General Musipi has stated that the delegation was in the commission to develop new pathways in tackling economic and financial crimes issues and other related offenses bedeviling the society. He called for collaboration and cooperation between both agencies and the implementation of the existing law enforcement memorandum of understanding between Nigeria and the Republic of South Africa.
So we are happy to be here, and we hope that when we leave here, we will have a way forward.
I am Chinonso Alexander Eni.
The acting chairman, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Abdul Karim Chukwu, has charged law enforcement agencies to take advantage of the Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Act 2022 to improve their asset tracing and recovery efforts with the aim of delivering greater benefits to the country. Chukwu stated this in a message at the opening ceremony of a 4-day capacity building workshop on the proceeds of crime at the EFCC Academy Abuja. Abbas Abubakar Umar has details on this and on another report. Over to you, Abbas.
The EFCC acting chairman, speaking through the secretary to the commission, George Ekpongu, said the commission was poised to take the lead in the enforcement of poker. He stated that various departments, particularly Proceeds of Crime Management Department of the EFCC, are poised to key into the economic recovery and development strategies of the present administration, which emphasizes crime prevention and uncompromising recovery of assets illegally obtained from the country.
The purpose of this workshop is to improve our understanding of poker and strengthen the capacity of our personnel to apply the Act in order to reap the numerous benefits that may accrue from an understanding and application of the Act. The fight against corruption and economic and financial crimes has yielded significant benefits to our country.
The Commandant EFCC Academy, Ayo Olowoni, in his remark, emphasized the importance of taking away benefits from crime. President of the Center for Socio-Legal Studies, Professor Akinsei George, identified greed as the major driver of crime. He said criminals no longer bother about going to prison, knowing that the proceeds of the crime are available for them to enjoy after serving their sentence. Akinsei maintained that poker is designed to put an end to such trend. The Solicitor General of the Federation and Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Justice, Beatrice J.D. Agba, represented by A.B. Abubakar, said poker is a child of necessity. He stressed that it is a landmark legislation which singularly set out a comprehensive scheme and prescribes processes and procedures for the tracing, restraint, seizure, confiscation, forfeiture and management of properties derived from unlawful activities. She revealed that efforts are being made to create a standardized automated asset forfeiture management system for the effective implementation of the provisions of the Act.
Let me start by appreciating the leadership of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, as well as the workshop facilitators for the initiative to organize this workshop. As you may be aware, the Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Act, POCA, was signed into law over a year ago, along with two other critical but related legislations, namely the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022 and the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022. The objective was to provide comprehensive legal and institutional framework for the fight against corruption, money laundering, terrorism, and other sundry financial and economic crimes in Nigeria.
The Chairman, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Professor Bolaji Owasanye, presented by Adedayo Kayode, stressed the need to preserve seized assets from deteriorating to enable government get good value when they are disposed of. Still from the Academy, the Commandant EFCC Academy, Ayo Olowoni, has commended the initiative by the Legal Defense and Assistance Project leader GTE Ltd to provide an e-learning studio, equipment, funding and training for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Olowoni made the request when the lead-up envoy came on a courtesy visit to the EFCC Academy Karo, Abuja. He assured them that all hands must be put on deck to ensure that the project succeeds. Project Officer lead-up Rehanat Moshood, speaking on behalf of the Executive Director Chino Edmond Obiagu, said the project is about the training of EFCC staff, particularly the investigators and prosecutors, on the innovation in the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, with lead-up providing any technical support that is not already available to the Commission. IT consultant lead-up Solomon Joshua Magaji disclosed that the plan is to develop an e-learning platform which will be used in the academy by the students. The idea is to have one ecosystem that can handle things from content, tests and quizzes and academic solutions. The visit ended with a tour of facilities in the academy to identify the ideal location for sitting of the studio and content production center. Bas Abubakar Umar reporting for the Eagle.
Next is conviction update with Golden Onwara.
In the week under review, the EFCC secured a total of 85 convictions. The breakdown of the convictions showed the Kaduna Command securing 26, Headquarters 17, while the Abuja and Benin Commands each secured 11 convictions. Kano Command got 9, Ilorin 4, Maiduguri had 3, while Lagos had 2. Port Harcourt and Sokoto Commands each secured 1 conviction, bringing the total convictions for the 31st week in the year 2023 to 85. I am Golden Omura.
Terrorist financing involved the soliciting, collection, or provision of funds with intent to support terrorist acts or organizations. Our interview segment is focusing on EFCC's intervention in preventing the financing of terrorism. Let's go to Ojo Chukutami Eche and our guest for more on this topic.
My name is Ojo Chukutami Eche, and I'm welcoming you to the interview segment of the program. Now, talking more on this topic today is Chief Superintendent of the EFCC, CSE, Chukwuma Orji. He is of the Counter-Terrorism and General Investigations and Pension Fraud, that's CTGI FS2 of the Operations Department of the EFCC. CSE Orji, so glad you are here on the program.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, I would like us to begin with the definition of terrorism. As a staff of the EFCC, an officer of a law enforcement agency, how would you define terrorism?
Generally, it's a simple man on the street. Terrorism is the use of fear to further an ideology. This ideology can be political, it can be religious, it can be whatever. So when you say ideology and furthering ideology, in general sense, a Nigerian or any person may not be willing to partake in an action. But with terrorism out of fear, the person will maybe join the group ideology in participating in their philosophy. In Nigeria, generally, there are laws that have defined those acts that constitute act of terrorism. Those acts are, for instance, in the act, for instance, it defines things like damaging an international organization or destroying a nation or actually bringing fear to the people in the community. These actions, as defined in the Section 2, Subsection 3 of the Terrorism Prevention Act, define those acts that form terrorism act.
Talking about terrorism financing, how would you define those two terms coming together as one body?
Terrorism financing, in a very simple way, looks to making availability resources for someone who wants to commit a terrorist act to perform these activities. This means, for instance, making available funds, assets, professional services, whatever you render to people to actually commit this act is terrorism financing. Also, Section 21 of Terrorism Act and Section 15 of the EFCC Measures Act also further defined what is terrorism financing.
Let's look at the experiences. What have been the different methods through which terrorists or culprits finance terrorism in the country?
In the act of financing terrorism, for instance, if you are aware that somebody has questionable character and is like in your mind, you are convinced that person is into illegal activities that are likely to be terrorism related, and you accommodate such person in your house, or you in any way you are a consultant in any form of profession, you render services to such people, or in any form you render any services to them, whether finances or resources, to them to carry out this act is terrorism financing. I explained to you. It is not a function of monetary values these days. It has gone beyond monetary values. Your act or your inactions also can be deemed to be terrorism financing. So other ways they fund this terrorism financing is basically through, as I explained earlier, it can be legal or it can be illegal. If you're talking about legal means, it means donations. And these donations, sometimes people donate without knowing the function the money will be used for. While in some circumstances, the funds are going to be used for terrorism financing. Sometimes they can be illegal. They can get involved in illegal mining or kidnapping or this. And the fund they derive from this, they use it for terrorism act.
How has terrorism financing affected our society, especially the economic and social sectors of Nigeria?
You cannot do business in environment terrorism thrive. In such environment, businesses will never survive. It's affecting the businesses of our people because you cannot comfortably move around in society. You can't do your business, you can't open your shop, you can't do a lot of things. So it affects your businesses. Also, in terms of social life, terrorism will make some people stay indoors when they're supposed to go outside. It actually makes a social life a little bit uncomfortable to Nigerians. So it affects us socially and economically. Economically, in the sense that the incomes due to us from businesses we should do, we can't make them again. And generally, it also affects the country. If the businesses are not running, they can't pay taxes. And the people, if they're not doing business, they can't have enough fund to run their life. Socially, if people are not moving around and associating with fellow human beings, invariably, it also affects the way the society looks.
What are the likely penalties that the courts are likely to mete out to these people?
If you are found guilty, the laws of Nigeria is very simple. It's life imprisonment for an individual. Then for corporate organization, you pay a fine of over 200 million. And also, directors or promoters of such company will also be convicted for over 20 years. And also, the company will be wound down. So the fines the punishments are on the high side. Then the promoters of the company is 20 years, and the company will be wound down too. That's what, if I can remember, that is section 21 of Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022.
Now, coming home to the EFCC, which is the crux of the matter, what is the EFCC doing to fight terrorism financing in the country?
The EFCC to perform the duties in terrorism financing, the EFCC constantly carry out surveillance of the financial architectures in Nigeria. The surveillance is carried out, taking that kind of critical analysis of inflows of funds into Nigeria to ascertain the purposes and the aim of such funds, and to ascertain if those funds are made to finance terrorism in Nigeria. So this is one of the basic functions our EFCC used, or processes used. Another process is engagement of stakeholders who are, for instance, are likely to be used to pass these funds through seminars, like this is our current program now, educating Nigerians on the art of terrorism financing. So it's about education and also surveillance of the financial architecture, and lastly also prosecution if after investigation and they realize that someone has committed the act or the offense of terrorism financing.
So let's look at the challenges that the Commission faces in curbing terrorism financing in Nigeria. What has been the experience of the EFCC?
Basically, terrorism financing it involves most often more than one country. And the funds generally have to be used real time. And one of the challenges the Commission faces is taking the right action real time. This entails making sure that inflows that are into Nigeria or outside or move out from Nigeria outside Nigeria to another country, decisions in respect of those funds are taken in real time. That's just the challenge. Because if you are in Nigeria and the fund as an inflow from that country, you have a challenge of trying to ascertain the purpose, what the fund left, and what the fund meant for Nigeria real time. And if we are unable to get this work real time, you may not have enough evidence to approach the court to stop the use of that fund. That's one of the challenge of. And another challenge is the issue of ideology. If someone believes in ideology, you have a challenge to convince that person to stop whatever he is doing. Even if you are encouraging the person not to make such donations, the person believes the donation is making is to further his ideology. So these are two of the basic challenges.
And how has the EFCC been able to overcome these challenges?
As I stated earlier on, the first one, the issue of getting real-time values for investigation is through use of modern technologies and also cooperation with foreign counterparts by collaborating in analysis and things like that. But for the issue of ideology is issue of education and also issue of enlightenment.
Now, before I let you go from this segment of the program, I would like you to advise Nigerians as regards the issue of terrorism financing. What would be your last word on this program? Basically,
if we did not stop terrorism financing and allow it to thrive, a time will come in Nigeria where fear will make us do things we are not willing to do. And where fear will make us be part of a society we don't wish to be. So it is terrorism financing and its art, terrorism is generally evil to our well-being and our existence as a country. I advise that in any form we see ourselves, or position we see ourselves, we should discourage people and we should not be part of terrorism financing.
My name is Ojo Chokutami Eche. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Ojo Chokutami, and our guest, CSC Oji Chukuma. And as said by our guest, do not encourage anyone who wishes to be part of terrorism financing, and do not be a part of terrorism or its financing. Do not destroy lives and properties. Let's be our brother's keeper. Shun all forms of criminality and say no to economic and financial crimes. Next is a Vox Pop on people's knowledge of terrorism financing and how the EFCC should intervene. Over to you, Hussaini Abubakar.
For over 15 years, Nigeria has had its fair share of terrorism and banditry. This act can't go by without the support of the financiers. Here on the street to ask Nigerians on how they think EFCC can prevent terrorism financing.
EFCC on their own cannot do alone. They have to team up with other security agencies to track the kidnappers. Once you track the kidnappers, you get the necessary information from them. And EFCC can as well track the financing. They can track the financing. And once they pay the kidnappers, you can pay them with marked money and track the cash.
I think one of the ways is by creating job employment, you understand, because in a situation like this, our youths come out from school and they are not being employed. It's part of the ways in which they will just indulge themselves in criminal acts.
For EFCC to prevent those who finance the banditry is to trace the account of the link, the money coming into the banditry account, to trace the link of the person. From there, you can get the person sending money to the banditry. From there, the EFCC can stop the money going in. With that money, the criminals cannot have anywhere to operate.
How do they communicate? How do they communicate? That's number one. Is it through which network are they using? I think we have networks in Nigeria. It's very easy. Or does EFCC doesn't have enough staff to now, help them look at the communication, meet with MTN, Glo, and all those things. Check the records. From there, you can get how these communications are going on. You know what I mean? So, if they can be able to trace the communication link of these people, it's very easy for them to now be able to now apprehend those, you know what I mean, people who are into this terrorism. Well, you have heard from Nigerians. It is our hope
that Nigeria will be sensitized and terrorist-free. I am Hussein Sani Abubakar, reporting for The Eagle.
And that's how we end today's episode of The Eagle. Until we come your way again next week, same time, same station, with another interesting edition. Let's keep the conversation going by sending an email to info@efcc.gov.ng. You can also call us on 0809 3322644. Use the EFCC mobile app, The Eagle Eye, to report any fraud you see happening around you. You download the app, you follow the steps and report fraud on the go. And you can also take pictures of corrupt practices and upload them. Also remember to join us every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. on our web-based town hall meeting called EFCC Connect, where we answer your questions and note your observations of the anti-corruption fight in order to serve you better. I am Aisha Muhammad, leaving you with these parting words from former South African President Nelson Mandela. He said, and I quote, "One of the most difficult things is not to change society, but to change yourself. We must be the change we wish to see. Let's all be patriotic. Let's stand for integrity and do the right thing always." Goodbye. God bless Nigeria. Please do stay safe. Be kind to yourself and others around you, and do enjoy the rest of the week.